من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين. بشيرنا المصدق نذرنا المؤيد المصطفى الأمجد محمود الأحمد بالقاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وإلى بيته طيبين الطاهرين المظلومين المعصومين صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أما بعد فقد قال الله في الكتاب الحكيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فمن هاجك من بعد ما جك من العلم فقل تعالوا ندعو وبنانا وبناكم ونسانا ونساكم وأنفسنا وأنفسكم ثم نبتهل فنجعل لعنة الله على الكاذبين صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Would you loudest voices recite another salawat for the fourth Imam, Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
And again, would you loudest voices recite another salawat for the last Imam, Imam Mehdi alayhi salam.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Today we'll be talking on the topic of Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he was born on the 5th of Sha'ban and died on the 25th of Muharram. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam is known to be one of the best Islamic scholars in Shia history and Islamic history, and is also known to be the fourth Imam after his father Hussein ibn Ali. It all started when Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he married a Persian woman named after Shah Zanan. But soon after that, they changed the name into Shahrbanu. Why? Because Shah Zanan is the meaning of Sayyidat Nisa. Sayyidat Nisa is Bibi Fatima Zahra alayhi salam.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Bibi Fatima Zahra alayhi salam's name. And there's no way someone else, a lower rank than Bibi Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, can have that name. Okay? So shortly while the Imam was born, Shah Zanan died, which was then received to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and then that caused him to marry another woman. Now that woman was the stepmother of Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, this was his stepmother. And when Imam Sajjad alayhi salam was growing up, his father taught him a lot of respect. And this respect came from his father, Imam Hussein alayhi salam. I'll tell you a story. There was a time when Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, his mother was cooking food. She brings it on the table mat, and they start eating. But once they put it there, Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he looked at his mother and he said, "Eat." But his mother says, "No, you eat first." He says, "Oh, I will never touch a piece of food that you want to eat." So as he eats his food, his mother then says, "Oh wow, I've never seen such a kid that has such a lot of respect." And this respect came from Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, the son of Imam Ali alayhi salam. So obviously, this respect that comes from Imam Ali alayhi salam is more understandable. The fourth Khalifa, but to me and most of us, first Khalifa. Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, you may ask, how was he sick? Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, on the way to Karbala, he was sick. He got an illness that wasn't going to cure. So now we normally have a cough, but that cough goes away in a few days, a few weeks. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he had a sickness that could not go, even in Karbala. You know, Sajjad alayhi salam, he had a separate tent, away from the others. So since he was away from the others, that meant to him having a stick, but not a sword. So there was a time in the battlefield when Imam Hussein alayhi salam, his father, was fighting against Shimar, Yazid, and Umar ibn Sa'ad al-Tuba. When he was fighting against these people, he discovered that his father, Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he discovered that his father is getting arrows in the chest, he's getting spears in the chest. So he started looking out. They say that Imam Sajjad is the person who saw the whole tragedy of Karbala. He saw his father die, he saw his uncle die, he saw Qasim die, he saw Ali Akbar die, he saw Ali Asghar die, and he even saw Sakina's earrings get pulled off. He saw Zainab hijab get pulled off. He saw all of this. He even said to the people, if you saw Karbala, you would never smile in your life. Never. And this is why we say that Imam Sajjad was the person who never smiled until Eid al-Zahra. He never smiled. And you know, when he cries, when you cry, you get clear tears. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, his tears were tears of blood. Tears of blood. Whenever they saw Sajjad, they'll be like, why are you crying? They say, because I can't. See, they say Yaqub cried for Yusuf even though he was still alive. How can I cry when I see my whole family martyred in the plains of Karbala? So then when his father's still fighting, he hears a call from his father that he recognizes, this is my father calling me. Ala hal min nasi yansurana, ala hal min nasi yansurana. Is there anyone here that can help me? Is there anyone here that can help us? So he stands up, he says to his companions, get me a stick and please get me a sword. They say, why? You're sick. He said, let me get a stick so I can walk to the battle of Karbala. And get me a sword so I can protect my father in any way. But they say, Sajjad, you're too sick. You have no power. You always walk in the stick. How will you fight? And they say that Sajjad was so protected because without Sajjad there will be no Bakr. Because Sajjad is the son of Bakr. So they have to keep him so they could be they could be future Imams. So when Sajjad died, how did he die? Shortly after Ashura, when everyone was dead. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he was poisoned. How was he poisoned? Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he was poisoned by a man called Walid bin Abdul Malik. When he was giving food to the Imam, he got some poison and put it in his food and his drink. And when he put it in his food and drink, when it was served to the Imam, obviously he ate it, and he was poisoned the same way as his uncle Hassan ibn Mushtaba. When he was poisoned, caused to his death in Medina, in Jannatul Baqi, everyone was sad. They even say more specific times where people would butcher the sheeps, they would cut their necks. He would start crying and he'd go up to the butcher and he said, did you give this lamb any food or water? Because he said that I recognized that time. And I remembered when my father was brutally martyred in the plains of Karbala. He was brutally martyred. So they say that when his father's neck was cut off, he was killed thirsty. So when he was killed thirsty, it led to him crying in blood tears. Blood tears. And he never stopped crying. He never stopped crying. And Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he always used to say, if you remember Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, just by saying Hussein, people start crying. Just by saying Hussein. And Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he was the most saddest person in Karbala, in the world. You may think it was Sakina, but she was in the cave, but she used to cry. But not the same way Sajjad used to. He used to say, I had no opportunity to help my father in any way because of this sickness. I got my sword, but people told me to sit down. Look at this, Karbala. There was a time when Imam Hussein alayhi salam, I'm going to finish the message soon. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he was dead. He was martyred in Karbala. Imam Zain al-Abidin, he came. And then what he did, he came as a miracle after his death. He came to Karbala. And he got this head. And he said, this looks familiar like my father's head. He hears the voice from his father's mouth. Put this neck on my neck. Don't you see the arrow still hurts me till this day. It burns. And I can feel like every day it goes through my flesh, my ribs. That's how Karbala was. Then he goes to the river Farad. His companion says, oh Sajjad, where are you going? He says, I'm going to collect the body of my uncle Abu Fadl Abbas. But there's no arms or a head. He picks it up and he puts it next to his brother. These two were martyred so brutally that their necks were chopped off and put on a spear. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.